When you picture investing, what comes to mind? Probably some crazy chart, right? People yelling on a trading floor? Well, what if I told you the most powerful strategy out there is actually super simple, like shopping for a bargain simple? Let's get into it. Seriously, just think about it for a second. Who doesn't love a good deal? You find that thing you've been wanting, but it's on sale. That's a great feeling, right? It's a win. So, what if you could do that same thing but with stocks? Well, it turns out that exact thought, that super simple, intuitive idea, is the foundation of one of the most successful investment philosophies ever. We're not talking about trying to time the market or chasing the latest hot trend. Nope. It's all about one thing: figuring out what something is really worth and then just being patient enough to buy it when it's on sale. And this whole philosophy of finding a bargain, it's got a name. It's called value investing. And look, this isn't some new fad. It's a strategy that's been guiding some of the absolute best investors for like 100 years. Okay, so let's break down what that actually means. The definition here is key, and it really has two main parts. First, you're on the hunt for undervalued stocks. Basically, companies the market is selling for cheap, cheaper than they're actually worth. But, and this is the second part, you're also looking for companies that are built to last, ones that can do well over the long haul. So it's not just about finding cheap stuff, it's about finding quality stuff that happens to be on sale. And like I said, this idea has been around for a while. The guy who came up with it all, the father of value investing, you could say, is Benjamin Graham. He wrote this incredibly influential book, The Intelligent Investor. Honestly, it's pretty much the Bible for this entire strategy, and it influenced a ton of people, including his most famous student ever, a guy you might have heard of named Warren Buffett. So, to really get what value investing is, it helps to understand what it isn't. And this slide kind of lays it out perfectly. On one hand, you've got the value investor. They're digging deep, looking at the long-term health of a company, the fundamentals. But then you have, well, pretty much everyone else, right? A lot of the market is just reacting to the daily news, the short-term price jumps and drops, all that noise. The core belief of value investing is that all that noise, all that overreaction, is exactly what creates those sales we're looking for. All right, so that's the what. Now let's get into the how. What does it actually take to think like a value investor? Really, it all boils down to a pretty straightforward, disciplined mindset. First step, you gotta do your homework. You analyze the business, the actual company, not just the squiggly line of its stock price. Second, and honestly, this is the hardest part for most people, you have to learn to ignore the daily drama, the market panic, the hype, just tune it out. And then third, you only pull the trigger when your research tells you that the company is selling for less than it's worth. See? It's really a game of patience. Okay, we're getting to the absolute core of it now. If you take away just one single thing from all this, let it be this next idea. It's the difference between price and value. And here it is, the fundamental difference. You've got market price. That's what a stock is selling for today. It can be totally emotional, totally reactive. It can swing all over the place. Then you have intrinsic value. That's what the company is truly worth based on its real long-term health. The entire game, the whole secret for a value investor, is to spot the gap between those two things and take advantage of it. And just like that, we've come full circle. See? It's not about some complicated algorithm or trying to predict the future. The goal is actually super simple, and it takes us right back to where we started. You're just trying to buy a great business for a price that's less than its actual value. It's like buying a dollar for 50 cents. That's it. You find a wonderful, solid business, and you wait for it to go on sale. Which, of course, leads us to the million-dollar question, right? How in the world do you figure out a company's true value? Because it's easy to say, oh, just buy something for less than it's worth. But actually calculating that number, well, that's the real challenge. That's both the art and the science of value investing, and it's the puzzle every intelligent investor is trying to solve.